Hello, everyone. Hola. Hola, Alejo.
Hola a todos.
Hola a todos. Okay. Oh, my Spanish improved now. I can speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Hello, everyone. Welcome to 10 Minutes Astrology, and it's the best way to learn astrology. Today we are starting a new journey. We're going to discover something very new and also very excited. Alejo, are you?
Yes, of course.
You
Yes.
look like a yes, I am.
Finally.
Finally, I think. Well, yeah, I think this planet we're waiting for a long time to come to the outer planet. But before we
Yes.
start, sorry, I have to go back to the commercial time because only 14th of January, Alejo going to have a webinar. I mean, this is so important for us and also for our audience. If you love Alejo, what Alejo did for last whole year to help you understand astrology, please give us a little bit of feedback and come to join us, come to share with us about this Pluto in Aquarius in this webinar on the 14th of January, 1 p.m. UK time. Alejo will join another astrologer, Darby Costello, going to discuss about what we can do with Pluto in Aquarius. But also another episode will be on 25th of February. Leah McCarthy and Christine Skinner were talking about the Pluto in Aquarius. This is a whole series of a webinar I designed, my personal. I'm so happy and so proud of it. And I want to all those good astrologer going to share their mind about for the next 20 years between 2023 to 2043. We're going to experience, we can deal with Pluto in Aquarius for such important time. But today we are not going to talk about Pluto. We're going to talk about Alejo?
Uranus.
Uranus. Okay. I have to behave myself, not go to mischief mode, because that's one role of Uranus. Okay, so so Alejo, could you give us some idea about Uranus?
So let's start with the mythology. I like
Yes.
always to start with stories. So let's start with the story. So basically, he's the first god. Uranus is the god of sky. So he's one of the first gods that appear.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, him and the earth, Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this means that when you think of this planet, you should think about that. This idea of something that was starting, something that was new, that wasn't there before. The idea also of the vastness, the amplitude of the sky. Like now we're used to living in cities with huge buildings, but if you're listening to this and you are not in a huge city, or if you remember from your travels or somewhere, the idea of looking at the sky and see the magnificence of the sky, see the sense of boundless that the sky has. Uranus is the first planet after Saturn, and for the Greeks, Saturn was the last planet. So Saturn was the end of the solar system. There was this was the boundary. This was the end, and Uranus comes afterwards. So that this idea of something breaking, breaking the limits of the system. And I think if you look at the sky, you get this feeling of something vast, something expansive that is limitless. And in the mythology, so Uranus is has relationships with the Earth, so that every day the Earth is giving birth to a new creature. But for Uranus, these creatures are ugly; they are disgusting. So he
Okay.
forces the Earth to he forces the Earth to eat them and hide them under the Earth, until, of course, at some point, the Earth, exhausted and devastated, she asked her children, like, is there not one of you that is willing to stand against your father and stop this massacre? And the only one who dares to do that is Kronos, which in Latin name is Saturn. And basically, this idea of limitation, Saturn comes to bring a limit, a boundary to this unstoppable possibility of creation that the sky had with Gaia, and with Gaia, sorry, and that it was unstoppable, and it was like very quick, very fast, very intense. And after that, we don't see him very much. After that, we don't hear any more myths about him.
Yeah.
But you wanted to share another story, I think.
Yes, usually we relate it to Uranus with the story of the sky god Uranus or Uranus, or sometimes I hear some American astrology call it like Uranus, just because
Mm,
they want to avoid the misunderstanding. I'm talking about
yes.
something else. I know that, and that's the mischief of Uranus too. Why? I'm going to tell you a story. I think some astrologer, especially, I think if I didn't make mistake, I don't want to make mistake, but I think most likely starting from, I think one of them is Liz Green, talking
Yes.
about the related to Greek mythology. Another god to the Uranus is Prometheus, rather than
Yes.
linking with Uranus. You have to, because Uranus is a sky god, and it does have this kind of quality of a sky god, especially like a be cast way or be
Yes.
distances. But she added the Prometheus into the Uranus character because she think this is a creative energy, and in the mythology, Prometheus is a creation of a human society, of a human being, and he's kind of a father figure of a human. But also, he has to, isolating himself because he know the secret of Zeus, and he being, he that Zeus torturing him for the secret. Who going to overthrow him? But he don't want to tell. So, Zeus like put him in the Caucasus mountain and send the eagle to torture him every day
Mhm.
for the answer. So, but he is very mischief. Don't understand if you don't misunderstood. Prometheus has a lot of trick to
Yes.
annoying Zeus. You have to
Yes.
understand that. That's why I say, somehow this kind of Uranus, he is not just a up and right and the distance say, no, I am different from you, or I'm distant, or I have give you a cold shoulder. I I don't know you. No, he will annoying you. He will teasing you. He will like find a way to mocking you. The
Mm.
famous story is like uh as Zeus give the indication of the Prometheus to create a human, then also Prometheus give the fire to the human being, and Zeus was upset. So while they offering to the Zeus, Prometheus teach people how to trick Zeus. So separate, they kill the sacrifice a cow, and separate in two parts. One is with the fat cover, the bone covered by fat. Another part is those lean meat, and ask Jews to choose one part of it to share it. Of course, Jews choose the fat because that's Jupiter. But he discovered there's a fat covered with bone, so he was really upset. It's no meat; it's just fat
Mm.
and bone. So that's a Prometheus that are laughing behind, say, ha 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 ha, you
Yeah.
guys. So that's another thing. We may be related to Uranus. It's a revolution idea because I think we usually related to revolution idea with the Prometheus because I think one part of it is the time it's been discovered in the 1781. During that time, the huge revolutions happened in the world from the I think in the Europe, that's the part of time is the Industrial Revolution, and very close to French Revolution, and then in the new continental, new world in United States, they start to prepare the independent world. So usually have the revolution, independent, all these kind of things related.
Yes. I agree.
Hmm. So,
So,
yep.
what are the keywords for Uranus after all of these stories?
Okay, I think I usually will give the change, revolution,
Yeah. I also would say
cut
the
off,
idea of independence,
independence. Yes, independence.
being
Yeah,
free.
being free. Oh, that's definitely being free is a very important keyword. Usually, the Uranus sign is the generation meaning. So if you try to read it, because it changed the sign every nearly 7 years. So it's this generation what they want to change for the world. What kind of change they bring to this world, and
Yes.
also the revolution power. I think.
Yes.
Hmm.
And then I would also say Uranus has this quality of being disruptive, being unexpectedly. You were talking about being a little bit of a trickster.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this quality of something that it's unexpected, something that you never know when it's going to act, when it's going to do something. It has this tricky kind of characteristic, I think, also. So there's something
Yeah.
about the unexpected.
Should we share example
Yes.
to see maybe help our audience understand a little bit more about the Uranus? So today I choose this chart. I really enjoy. I really like this musician, and also because choose this chart because he has the Uranus in his chart in a very important position is on the angle, and well, to be honest, should we just tell a secret why
Yes, let's say
the
it now.
thing
Yes.
is a little bit different? Okay. Well, yes, because while we record this episode, unusual things happen, and we've been interrupted for twice, right? At least
Yes.
twice, at least
Yes.
twice, and it's such an interesting Uranus moment. Alejo, tell us.
Yeah, because okay, we said Uranus is about disruptions and things
Yeah.
unexpected, right? Things that
Yes.
they are not expecting for. So, and I have been, these people have been calling me because I've just moved to Greece. So they need to bring all of the furniture, and it's
Yeah.
different companies. And they keep calling me and trying to arrange timings. And it's so weird because they give me a time, then they call me to change it. They then say they will call me again. I
Yeah.
don't get it. Why they don't just call me and tell me when they're going to come? But I think it's so funny that it's happening as we record. And because it's
Yeah.
something, it's like these things that if you don't answer now, maybe you will not get to talk to them until Monday.
Exactly.
So we decided to stop the recording so I could take the call.
And
So it's
what
quite
happened is
funny, yes.
twice.
Yes, exactly. It's quite funny, yes.
Yeah, it's quite funny, and that is the Uranus moment. So interrupted, suddenly cut off. This is
Exactly.
very very key word of Uranus. So let's share the chart of Mozart. Let's share the chart of
Yes.
Mozart, and if it interrupts, I will keep recording. So as you see, I just mentioned Alejo talking about the angle. So which means Alejo, please.
So when we say the angle, we mean either the ascendant
Yeah,
or the midheaven, which is sometimes the beginning of the 10th house, usually,
yeah,
depending on which house system you use.
yeah,
The descendant,
yeah.
which is the opposite to the ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
And then the IC, or the beginning of the 4th house,
Mm-hmm.
which is always the opposite of the midheaven and the beginning of the 10th house, always.
Yes.
So those are the 4 angles. So planets there, they're going to be prominent in a person's life. They're going to be like very signified. And in the case of Mozart, indeed, we have Uranus. So this idea of being eccentric, being different, being a bit, the idea of creating something completely new, unexpected, that nobody had seen before, is really present in his chart. Now, in this case, it's in the 7th house. So like Rod was saying, with transpersonal planets after Saturn, we focus more on the house than the sign, to be honest, when we are doing natal chart work. So what importance to us is that it's in the 7th house. And the 7th house, we say, it's his relationships, how we relate, how he relates to people. So we would expect him that the relationships he creates they have this color, this need for being a little bit independent, not feeling tied up, perhaps being a little bit out of the norm, different to what the society is used to. Maybe he's attracted to people that actually bring this energy to his life. So people who are like unexpectedly creative, who are a bit erratic, they're not very constant, and these kinds of things. What would you say, Rod? Do you agree?
Yes, yes, and also I think Uranus as an angular planet, like you say, usually were prominent, and or the character stand out. I like the story. I like a way Liz Green described it. The only angular planet is like in the mythology, those god come into your door, knock your door, and give you a important mission, ask you to fulfill your quest, your fulfill their request, and you have to overcome some challenge. And if you don't, you offend them. So That means any planet in the angle, angle on the angle, like on ascendant, MC, IC, or descendant, you have to fulfill it. You have to live with it. And the Uranus is like you say, the independent and with distance. But also you can see that the strong character about the rebelling. Like I think the story about he and his father, the relationship between him and his father has usually been focused because his father is also a musician. So trained him since he was very young. He always played the music, but he doesn't have a childhood. But he want to, there's always a shadow of the father he want to against. But also when you listen to his music, it's a very interesting. There is a playful. There's a feeling of a playful and always with joy and with playful things in his music, and it's always very, I like his music. It's very interesting and they keep changing, keep variant. So that is an idea about Uranus. And then I think he also kind of, if he living in the modern society, he would be someone who is a very different. Another interruption, my alarm. He would be very unique because I think in his time he is a part of a what do we call the Freemason? He is part of
Yes,
Freemason.
it's true. Yes.
Yeah. So I think even in today, he would be do something very unusual and very different. I think the one thing, his work, everybody knows about the magic flute in English. I don't want to
Yes.
speak in German. That would sound very terrible. But the magic flute, everybody know, is a very famous opera, and also most people thinking is an opera suitable for children because the music is a nice and sweet story. Is a prince and the princess and the princess. No, not at all. Well, if you really read the story and along the storyline, you know what? It's a very new age. It's a
Yes.
super new age, super spiritual with a Freemason's idea. So that is very Uranus. That is like open your boundary, to see the different worlds.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, we have already been through these planets. You can see Saturn, the Sun,
Yeah,
Mercury, and Venus. They are
yeah,
all in Aquarius. So
yeah.
this quest for creativity, for doing something different,
Mm,
something that
mm,
has not been done before, that doesn't
mm.
have a previous model, it's very energizing, his chart. It's like it's a very core of his chart. And the fifth
Indeed.
house, we all know it's the house of
Create.
expression and creativity, we
Yeah.
said. And the sixth house is the house of work, like you do every day. So it's
Mm.
like this is all connected for him.
Indeed, indeed. That's why, use his chart, we can really read his story. And even I like to say that if you like a story, if you like some writer's story, you can always read the story in their natal chart. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of story to discover. I hope one day we can always come back to do some few chart example and to discuss with those artist or the writer we like and talking about their chart with the story they write. Maybe somehow like Mozart, we don't know big part of his life, but with the story he writing, he's always playing in front of you, and you can really read from his chart.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Alejo. It's always great time to share the astrological moment with you, even the Uranus moment or Uranus moment, they say, because it's not that way. Sorry, it's not that moment, but this interrupt moment, we interrupt twice and three times, third time by my alarm. That is so astrology speaking. That's the chart is talking about the moment of Uranus and help us understand more.
Yes.
So, Alejo, do we give the exercise?
Yeah, since we worked on Uranus on the seventh house, I
Yeah.
would say try to work on Uranus on the fourth house. What would be the difference? Why it's still going to be very angular, it's still going to be very clear,
Yes.
very prominent. But how would it be different being in the fourth than in the seventh?
Yeah. That would be very interesting. Think about the meaning of fourth house. Let me give you some hint. House, family, parental. So that would be very interesting to think about what Uranus energy when it moves into this house and what can, have an impact in the personal life. Thanks for watching and listening 10 Minutes Astrology. Today we talk about Uranus or Uranus.
Yes.
And I hope you like, if you like our video, please like and subscribe. And we nearly have 1,000 subscribers. And when we achieve the 1,000 subscribers, we're going to have a very interesting event and have a prize to offer. So go ahead. Please click the subscribe and share the video. And don't forget, on the 14th of January, Alejo and David Costello will talk about Pluto in Aquarius. And Alejo, what are we going to talk about next week?
So next week is Neptune, the next frontier breaker of
frontier
the
breaker.
triad. Yes.
Yeah, Neptune. Well, okay. See you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.